Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, let's just dive right into the fascinating truth behind your daily shower routine and uncover a much better way to get clean. If you're like most of us, you probably stepped into the shower today, grabbed your go-to body wash, and squeezed out this thick, rich gel without a second thought. But what if I told you that almost everything you believe about that bottle is a carefully crafted illusion?
So, let's pull back the curtain for a second. We really need to ask, what exactly are you getting for that $12 bottle of premium gel? When you see that thick, slow-moving consistency, it sends a subconscious message straight to your brain, right? Premium product, premium results. But is it? Let's actually break down the chemistry of what's hiding inside that plastic bottle.
Get this, roughly 80% of that bottle, it's just plain water. Yep. You've got about 1% surfactant to actually clean you, 1% fragrance to make you smell good, and less than 0.5% of a thickening powder. You are mostly paying for water and a very deliberate psychological trick. Cosmetic companies specifically engineer that liquid to pour slowly because, to us, thickness signals quality way more reliably than any other cue. It's wild. Part 1. The drying skin cycle.
Now you might be wondering, why does your skin always feel so tight and dry after a hot shower? You probably assumed that's just what completely clean skin feels like, but actually, scratch that, it's an engineered reaction. Almost every commercial body wash out there relies on harsh, synthetic detergents like sodium lauryl sulfate, or SLS. And the problem is, they clean a little too efficiently. Sure, SLS strips away the dead skin cells and surface dirt, but it absolutely obliterates your skin's vital natural moisture barrier in the process. That tight feeling, that is literally your skin's surface being compromised by harsh detergents.
And here is where it gets really interesting. Look at how the cosmetic industry handles the exact problem they just created. If you go buy a moisturizing body wash, you're essentially buying a contradiction. Companies sell you this by simply adding glycerin, which is a humectant that draws moisture back to correct the specific damage their own harsh SLS formula just caused. So the moisturizing claim on the bottle? Technically accurate, but it is basically just a bandage for a self-inflicted wound.
Oh, and the deception doesn't stop at the soap itself. That comforting little word fragrance on the label? In North America, that is actually a legally protected trade secret. It can hide up to 3,000 distinct, completely undisclosed chemical compounds. On top of that, there are 26 fragrance allergens totally permitted in the US and Canada that are straight up banned in the European Union. And if you see dermatologist tested slapped on the bottle, keep in mind that phrase has absolutely zero regulatory definition. It could literally mean one dermatologist did a single test with no required outcome whatsoever.
Part 2. The secret thickening agent.
Okay, so if the soap is overly harsh and the fragrance is this mysterious chemical cocktail, where does that luxurious premium thickness actually come from? Well, that appealing texture is simply a 1-cent edition of a grocery item called Xanthan Gum. It's a totally safe food thickener. Honestly, you've probably eaten it in a salad dressing or maybe some ice cream this week. At just a 1% concentration in water, Xanthan Gum forms this dense, viscous gel. It's the exact texture that screams premium personal care on a store shelf, but it literally costs manufacturers pennies. Just to put the cost of this into perspective for you, one single $8 pound of Xanthan Gum from a local health food store is enough to supply a single person's body wash for 3 entire years. Think about that. The thickness you paid $10 for this morning is literally a fraction of a cent's worth of a baking ingredient.
Part 3. The 30-cent recipe.
All right, let's stop paying for massive marketing budgets, proprietary chemical blends, and straight-up water. Let's build a superior, entirely skin-friendly wash right at home. Here's the exact breakdown for your new routine. For under 30 cents a batch, you can create a gentle, premium formula that yields roughly 30 showers. You start with half a cup of unscented liquid Castile soap, which is a much gentler base than SLS, and that runs about $2. From there, it is literally pennies. 3 cents of vegetable glycerin, 4 cents of coconut oil, less than a penny of xanthan gum, and roughly 10 cents for your own pure essential oils. Just add a cooler cup of distilled water, and you are completely done. When we zoom out, the financial impact here is just mind-blowing. Switching over to this DIY method plummets your annual household body wash cost from a staggering $120 down to about $10. You are keeping over $100 in your pocket simply by skipping the plastic bottle and the ridiculous marketing markup. Part 4. The crucial mixing technique. Now, before you run to the kitchen, there is a catch. Making this recipe takes under 10 minutes, but there is one absolutely high-stakes step you have to get right or your whole batch goes straight into the trash. Never, ever mix xanthan gum directly into water. If you drop the powder straight into water, the exact second it makes contact, it forms a gel skin around the outside of the particle. This traps the dry powder inside and creates these frustrating, permanent clumps that will never dissolve. I mean, no matter how long you stir it, they are not going away. Instead, you have to strictly follow these steps to get a perfectly smooth, professional-grade gel. First, measure your viscous glycerin into a bowl. Add the xanthan gum directly onto the glycerin and stir it with a fork for 2 full minutes until 0 dry particles remain. The glycerin coats the powder evenly without actually hydrating it. Only then do you slowly add your distilled water while stirring continuously. It is going to thicken up like magic within 30 seconds. Finally, gently fold in your Castile soap, coconut oil, and your essential oils. And I do mean gently fold. If you mix it too fast, you'll create a foam that takes an hour to collapse.
Part 5. Custom Scents and Benefits.
And here is the absolute best part. Because you are now the formulator, you completely control what goes onto your skin, meaning you can tailor it perfectly to your own needs. You can craft custom essential oil blends that hold on the skin beautifully. Want a sharp, really clean start to your morning? Use 15 drops of sweet orange and 10 drops of peppermint. Looking for a relaxing evening formula that lingers past towel drying? Try 15 drops of lavender and 5 drops of cedarwood. Or you could even make a highly functional antimicrobial wash using eucalyptus and tea tree oil.
And speaking of that antimicrobial blend, look at the power you have here. Adding tea tree oil transforms your everyday batch into a verified antimicrobial wash. Research out of the University of Western Australia actually documented that tea tree oil produces broad-spectrum bactericidal activity against Staphylococcus aureus, which is the main pathogen behind most common skin infections. That means your little 30-cent homemade batch is actively fighting bacteria in a way a standard $6 store-bought bottle literally never will.
Now, since you aren't using harsh synthetic preservatives, this formula naturally stays stable at room temperature for about 3 to 4 weeks. But if you want to keep it fresh for up to 2 full months, it's super easy. Just add a 1/4 teaspoon of vitamin E oil, also known as tocopherol. It stops the carrier oils from oxidizing and slows down any microbial growth, which makes your batch incredibly stable. So that leaves us with one final thought. Now that you actually know the psychological tricks hiding inside that plastic bottle, you really have to ask yourself, what other daily conveniences are you overpaying for just because of a clever illusion? Try whipping up a batch of this body wash this week, and I guarantee you'll start questioning the labels on the rest of your bathroom counter.